Good morning, everyone. Today, I invite you to join me on a journey into the history of one of the most essential inventions in our daily lives. The kitchen stove. When we think about cooking today, it feels simple and convenient. We just turn a knob, press a button, or tap on a digital panel, and heat is instantly available. But this convenience is the result of centuries of innovation, beginning with very basic fire pits and evolving into the stoves we know today. For thousands of years, humans relied on open fires for cooking. In ancient times, people dug fire pits in the ground, surrounded them with stones, and placed pots or meat directly above the flames. Later, hearths, open fireplaces inside homes, became the center of family life. While these hearths provided warmth and light in addition to cooking, they were smoky, inefficient, and often dangerous. In medieval Europe, the hearth dominated the main hall of a house. Smoke escaped only through holes in the roof or small chimneys, filling rooms with soot and fumes. Clearly, a safer and more efficient method was needed. The idea of enclosing the fire was an important turning point. In the 16th and 17th centuries, iron grates and brick enclosures helped to concentrate heat, reduce smoke, and make cooking more controllable. These early fire enclosures can be seen as the ancestors of the kitchen stove. By the 18th century, inventors across Europe and America were experimenting with more sophisticated heating devices. One famous example is Benjamin Franklin's 1742 Franklin stove, designed to improve heating efficiency for rooms. Although not a cooking stove, it inspired future inventors to think about how heat could be directed and controlled. The real breakthrough came in the early 18th and 19th centuries with the development of cast-iron stoves. In 1735, a man named Francois Dea, a French architect, designed a type of enclosed stove called the stew stove, or castrol stove. It featured flat cooking holes on the top surface where pots could be placed directly above the fire. This was much safer and more efficient than an open hearth. By the early 1800s, cast-iron stoves were spreading widely, especially in Europe and North America. They were durable, retained heat well, and allowed cooks to boil, fry, and bake with greater precision. The Industrial Revolution in the 19th century played a critical role in the popularization of kitchen stoves. Cast iron became widely available, and factories were able to mass-produce stoves at lower costs. In the United States, stove companies like Joule, Glenwood, and Garland produced ornate, heavy cast-iron stoves that became a centerpiece of middle-class kitchens. Many were decorated with elaborate designs, making them both functional and fashionable. These stoves often included ovens and multiple cooking plates on top, allowing several dishes to be prepared at the same time. Compared to the smoky and inefficient hearth, the stove represented modernity, progress, and comfort. While wood and coal stoves dominated the 19th century, a new technology was on the horizon: gas. By the early 1800s, gas lighting had begun to spread in cities, and soon people realized gas could also be used for cooking. The first practical gas stove was introduced in the 1820s, and by the 1860s, gas stoves were becoming more common, especially in urban areas. They were much easier to control than wood or coal, since cooks could adjust the flame instantly. Gas stoves also eliminated the need for storing heavy fuel like firewood or coal. By the late 19th century, many city households had shifted to gas cooking, though rural areas still relied heavily on wood and coal well into the 20th century. The next major leap came with electricity. In 1892, Canadian inventor Thomas Ahern patented one of the first electric stoves. Early models were expensive and not very efficient. But as electricity became more widespread in the 20th century, electric stoves grew in popularity. By the 1930s and 40s, electric stoves were competing directly with gas, offering a clean, modern, and convenient way to cook. Advertisements promoted them as labor-saving devices that fit perfectly into the new idea of the efficient, scientific kitchen. Today, stoves have evolved far beyond their original form. In addition to gas and electric stoves, we now have induction cooktops that use electromagnetic energy to heat pots directly, while keeping the cooking surface cool. We also see digital controls, smart connectivity, and energy-efficient designs. Interestingly, the cultural meaning of the stove has remained strong. In many households, it is still the symbolic heart of the kitchen, the place where families gather, share meals, and connect. The kitchen stove is more than a technical invention. It transformed everyday life. It made cooking safer, faster, and more reliable. It also influenced architecture. Kitchens became separate, specialized spaces instead of smoky corners of a large hall. Furthermore, the stove contributed to changing gender roles. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, advertisements often portrayed the stove as a tool of domestic efficiency, aimed at women. Later, as cooking became more professionalized, stoves symbolized not only household labor, but also culinary creativity, from smoky hearths in medieval homes to sleek induction cooktops in today's smart kitchens. The evolution of the stove tells a story of human progress. It reflects our desire to make life safer, cleaner, and more efficient, while also reminding us that cooking is at the heart of culture and community. The next time you prepare a meal on your stove, remember that it is not just a household appliance. It is the product of centuries of innovation and history. Thank you for listening.